if you have the confidence to throw out a curveball, or if you're like, hey, Azaki, I just had a great game on the Lee Sin. Do I go back to something like that? These are the types of things that you just don't know.
I'm wondering if they go back to the Ksante for Shanji. I know he didn't have a great first game of it in this series, but he had a really strong performance on it last game, and I do wonder if they want to just go back to comfort for him. They will grab the Lulu away from BLG and something to supplant their kind of late game carry and Abel.
Yeah, making sure that no matter what, as the game goes on, they will have that skilling on lock and be able to make sure that Abel's able to keep things on lock. But I love this. BLG not wanting Yagao to have those two champions spanned out in the second phase. We'll just go towards the Annie. If you've been watching the whole time, you'll know Yagao's Annie in those first couple of games was the difference maker for BLG either winning or BLG potentially making comebacks and being able to win games that they shouldn't have. So great to see this time around. And the Ksante that you highlighted, it seems like that's the pivot, right? Both junglers seem more confident to get past this first pool. And now for BLG, I want to see, are they going to put more respect on something like the Lee Sin this time around?
I'm wondering if we do get that kind of opt-in here, but I'm expecting the bans here to be quite focused. I think we're obviously still missing a big focus for OMG, and BLG will absolutely be focusing that down, but I like this ban away from OMG, taking away the Gwen from Ben, where there was a lot of light at the end of the tunnel, and it wasn't a train for that Gwen last time around.
Now I wonder if they'll take away something like the Fiora, if they're just going to keep focusing bans on top, or if maybe they just look towards support and taking away a Nautilus or some other engaged support for on. I feel like trying to tunnel down on top lane bans makes more sense, because then you're going to be pushing Ben further into his pool and like, hey, what is he going to bring out? Is he going to default to like a Renekton or something along those lines? If Fiora's gone, I'm not really sure, because it feels like BLG have really banked on being able to keep up that pressure in sides when they have been strong. But the Gnar, something that slipped my mind since it has been banned so consistently since we've seen it being taken away.
I do like that ban, though. A little bit more targeting towards Ben, who has been probably structurally the strongest for BLG in terms of consistently trying to win out those top lanes. And if you don't give focus towards it, if you don't try to shut him down, he will just run away with those 1v1s, it feels like. And we do get the Lee Sin banned away from Aki, so he won't have that extremely proactive jungler this time for OMG.
No, so you still have things like the Maokai, which they were playing earlier on. Viego's another one we've highlighted, but Aki hasn't played that yet this split. Have seen it a bit more in playoffs from other teams, but if they end up just going for the Yone here, we'll probably signal... It will signal that they're probably just going to end up going for an AP jungler on 5. And now for BLG, it's about Ben's answer. Again, Ben, despite saying in the pregame, it's all about having a wider champion pool in the best of 5s. Hasn't really shown one this split.
They just saved the Elise, bring it out. I feel like that's a little bit weird, but I feel like it could work. It is something that Aki has brought out in the playoffs.
You don't know why obvious champions keep slipping my mind. I guess it's because it's 6 a.m. and we've been going for so long. Jack's being up. It makes sense. You know, Mazel, it's been a long night. But now, final pick to round out for BLG. I mean, now with the Lulu being taken off the table and Rakan not being there, you would assume it would probably just end up being the Nautilus.
This has been subtly banned, I will say. I'm wondering if it actually makes it through.
This is a bit of an odd specialty. I don't know if they'll lock it in. This would be high risk, high reward. And they go for it. Game 5 on Ops into bringing out his Blitzcrank. Gonna see if he can find value, landing those hooks onto Abel and making sure he can't take over. Right now, OMG hovering the Maokai. We expect this one to come through, right? They've locked in the Yone in mid. This is what would make the most sense and really do a lot with the ulti from preventing like Wukong and Annie from being able to find access onto that backline.
This is so interesting. It feels like a giant robotic haymaker in the waiting this entire time. It was banned away earlier by OMG, but makes it through here. And we have our compositions for our last game here, Lyric. A Maokai opt-in for Aki in the end.
For OMG, just defaulting back to what they've been doing. Still incredibly strong if this game goes the distance, because you have the consistent DPS coming out from both Creme and Abel. You have a huge front line, a ton of zone control, and then Ppgod on Lulu to enable all of it. On the side of BLG, again, I feel like it's a little bit more pick-oriented.
Competition is what is bred in the LPL, and between BLG and OMG, I wouldn't expect anything less than a 5-game series. We'll see who goes on to face the Titans that remain in the LPL Spring Playoffs.
Already huge that this teams have made it here, but I need to pause on that as BLG already trying to angle for something aggressive. Bin going to be spotted out on the ward, but looks like the other's just going to back off for now. But like I said, it's already a big win in my mind that OMG and BLG made it this far. No one would have predicted these runs to come through. We've kind of been spouting these narratives all night. It is our jobs, but it's also, again, just crazy. Looking at the bracket, seeing how they got here, it is kind of sad that one of them, their story will end here. And all of it, I mean, we sold the focus on AD carries coming to the series, which felt true, especially for those first few games. But seeing different members step up, Yagao for the side of BLG, Aki in that last game for OMG really sets things up to a different pace. This time around, you want to see On have his highlight moment. Maybe for OMG, Creme have more of an impact on this Yone than he was able to have last time.
And I think when you're talking a little bit about overall impact as a whole, I think that's really interesting, especially with what we've seen in those step-up categories. But I think for me, it's also looking holistically at both the organizations in terms of OMG really opting into this top 4 roster, right? Trying to get something going, bringing in Ppgod this year and trying to make something happen between these, because it is a roster in the building, right? A project that OMG have been trying to put together.
It's actually crazy. It's like long-term project versus like let's throw monies on
for a second year in a row.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, we're just gonna call a spade, right? BLG, they throw money and make their rosters, which isn't wrong. I think in the LPL that's really cool to do, and I like seeing these rosters built top players, but definitely two different philosophies coming in. We can see now, right, going back to the game, both junglers pathing down towards bot side. Makes a lot of sense. Again, when you have this kind of high-risk, high-reward pick like the Blitzcrank coming through, you want to try and enable it, bring Shun down there. But Aki maybe going to start things off towards mid.
Look at this. Could be going for a little bit of an invade, or at least early gank onto Yagao. This was something that Shun was able to pull off earlier in the series on the Diego. Yagao steps up here, and Aki shows himself. He is not the bush. He is a living tree. He's not going to find anything as he throws the little alien down. And Aki's still going to go with his full clear side.
Yeah, gets the movement speed from the shield, so he does manage to get away from there without having to burn any summoners. So great from Yagao.
Oh, yeah.
Summoners get out is... I want to keep my eyes on Aki on that minimap because he's still just angling around the enemy jungle. Looks like he might even be trying to make his way down for a bot gang.
I think he's spotted out, though. He got spotted out. The slow comes through, grabs him, actually connects here. They don't follow. They know that Shun is following Aki.
So Shun will have a bit of an advantage in terms of that he's actually actively been clearing out his jungle. So right now sitting 20 CS to only 12. We'll just go back to his Krugs, knowing that there's prio in both mid and bot for the side of OMG. He won't be able to look to contest that Scuttle Crab, but still should feel quite good in terms of being ahead on that. And now, again, my eyes are just going to stay glued to this bot lane. I've seen one hook connect from On, but not a lot of damage to follow up just yet without, you know, jungle or mid lane intervention coming down to this lane.
And it has been a theme. We've had a lot of 3v3s. It feels like so long ago towards the bottom side in our first 2 games. A little bit of differences that we saw growing into game 3 and game 4. But something we have not seen change has been early priority on Dragon. And that prio starts by maybe getting a gank off on mid lane. But I do wonder if BLG try to opt into that again. Blue side has been heavily preferenced, but actually BLG on red side last game got the first Dragon and tried to set that tempo.
Not going to go for it just yet, you know. I mean, it's not even spawned, so the Dragon, not a priority in my mind, Mazel. What I'm looking at is blood, his action that's coming on through.
Blood?
Because, especially as we talk about scaling, right, I really favor OMG heavily in that department. Like, sure, again, when you have Zeri, I really feel like anything's possible in terms of being able to bring a game back. We saw last time around what happened when, like, you have the Yone to pair up in mid lane as well, and that's going to become a threat later on, and you have this huge front line. It's all being enabled by your Enchanter. So where BLG don't really have that same presence. Once again, not really having that same front line, which is kind of a common theme with BLG and their composition just because of the types of champions that Bin does opt into. And Blitzcrank only compounds on that fact with kind of the play style that he has, right? Playing far back, looking for those hooks and really just bringing one into your team. So BLG gonna have to start being proactive once Shun comes back from base and really start being able to pick off targets one by one. So you'd expect it to be towards bot side.
Yeah,
Camp's coming back.
That's
up.
where we've seen so much proactivity come through for On and the team and a lot of the successes of BLG. And on the Blitzcrank, it's no different. But we will see Aki actually repeat ganking down towards this bottom side, trying to potentially get a little bit of momentum going down there. But it is all about that moment, I guess, for On to get these pickouts.
Right now, waiting in the wings, and the wave's actually being pushed. Because now it looks like we'll be evened out. But On's being so patient now with Shun here too.
Able to round the corner, connect on a Ppgod, and he does have to burn that flash. That is a big gravitum connect from Abel, though. And here comes Aki, knocked back at first. Blood goes to OMG, and it's right into Abel's hands. They should be able to chase down more a little bit. Those chakrams able to be stacked up. Another Bramble smash. Abel have to flash back, but Elk goes down too, and Abel's off to the races. He's got 2 kills in game 5.
And Elk really going to regret that flash. Great from OMG. Aki being there to go for the counter gank and really punish out on BLG trying to make that aggressive play. When we were just setting up on BLG kind of needing the team to get things going a bit earlier on. Not a great start. We're going to see here the patience. On was waiting in this rush for so long. Does connect the hook, but with the Guardian there, able to absorb a lot of that damage. And yeah, the Graviton, huge, locking them down. And all of this just buys time for Aki to get here. Bramble Smash shown in, and now that you know that Elk's burnt and Summoners, there's nothing stopping you from just continuing to run down the BLG bot lane.
The flash from Abel definitely needed there for sure, but able to pick up a second kill. And now that's a pickaxe. That's a completed boots there as well back in the lane. And something definitely OMG can play around, but not yet. I mean, they can have that, but that's something they can look at later, right? Abel has been so crucial in a lot of late game team fights. Now that opens up a lot of opportunities for Aki on the rest of the map.
I think it's so terrifying, right? You're coming down into this lane. Now having that pickaxe advantage, you're going to be able to trade quite effectively. Ppgod still going to have things like the shields to be able to provide if the hook does come through. They still need to be careful, right? That's the other kind of nice thing about a Blitzcrank is it does give you cheeky opportunities to always find ways into like a game or a kill that shouldn't necessarily be there. But small item advantages like this add up. Now the thing I'm keeping my eyes on is Herald, because look at Aki on the minimap. He's actually moving back down to bot. Might not be concerned with it with how much of an advantage Bin is finding in that top side. And I wonder if they just try and look for a repeat play on bot. But that's why you can see Elk and On were actually backing off and playing a bit safer, not playing far up in lane anymore.
They're going to continue to move down here, though. Aki looking to pressure bot lane while Shun does that Rift Herald. Still that early advantage for both in the trade of getting objectives. We've been Creme down with the priority for mid lane. And this should be that dragon going over to OMG.
Nice by them. I wonder if Shun's going to start just trying to more proactively look towards like giving that gold to top, to where before maybe would have thought, okay, maybe you lean towards bot again, try and again give that to the Zeri, but maybe open a side lane up even earlier, set Finn up for success, and really let him dominate. The problem is, I don't really feel like that converts into a win all too well. Will give him more opportunities to roam over and potentially create numbers advantage. And, you know, that could be an avenue into really shutting down people like Abel and Creme and not allowing them to get ahead.
And that's so crucial right now. We saw Creme able to pop off on the Yasuo last time around, but it really was the cohesion in team fights that we've seen OMG succeed in these last couple of games. That I think that especially when you give these comfortable options over to OMG, it gets a little bit more scary, and now you have a league to write home about for Abel. We'll see Creme and Yagao trading off pretty heavy in that mid lane, but all is well that ends well.
I miss Yasuo. That'd be another fun champion to have back on the Rift.
Maybe by the end of playoffs, we'll get a Yasuo. Get the brother comp.
It's been a while, so it'd be fun. It seems like another champion that would be in Creme's wheelhouse, or Creme's Kiana. That's another specialty of back in the day.
Well, if you're going to go ahead and bring up specialties, I want to bring out Aki's Zed. I know I mentioned it earlier in passing, but I actually love when Aki used
I don't want Aki's Zed,
even if it didn't work out for him, all right? But now he's on the Maokai. Now he's facilitating people. He knows how to get the resources out and around the team. We'll see BLG moving out, trying to be proactive with On and Shun.
And again, eyes default back, I guess, to the opposite side for jungle, because Shun having the Rift Herald in pocket, it's going to be about where he uses it. You can see him now pathing up towards that top side. The tourist camps are up. But I kind of am imagining he will probably try and give this one to Bin with the way bot lane is going right now. They do still have pressure, but not really going to be able to convert it into anything. Abel and Ppgod should be able to farm just fine.
Ooh, that's a good amount of damage onto Aki. That will be a flash out. So a little bit of a summer spell burn there, and maybe a readaptation.
Great coordination, because at the same time, Bin all in Shanji on top lane, and we saw Yagao was trying to heavily force him mid. Yagao did have the flash, though.
So Ppgod falling down to the trap. Here comes the rocket grab as well. He didn't even hit it, but it doesn't matter. Can the damage come off? He's hitting the lightning, and it's out that picks up 2. And we got shots across the bow for both ADCs.
And despite the fact that Abel and Ppgod had the good start, that they were the ones who got to some, items first, it's still Elk coming out on top in this 2v2, not even needing to connect that second hook. And now we're going to go straight into a replay of how this all, I guess,
he just fell for the classic trap. You just are trying to dodge out as much as possible, but you can't do it.
Yeah, Ppgod really giving this one away and allowing BLG to just get this free kill in bot side. Huge misstep from them off of what was a comfortable laning phase. Sure, again, they've been getting pushed in this whole time off the threat from the Blitzcrank, but it wasn't really amounting to anything. Now, new cover picked up.
All right, response play. Ooh, grab out of Ppgod, though, and this absolutely upends the trap that OMG were trying to put down. That'll be a flash burn by Ppgod.
Twice in a row, Ppgod the man to get caught out and give BLG some leeway. And BLG, hell, 1.5k gold up, actually, taking place in mid. I think there will be a bit of a CS advantage at top because Bin had one, and there should be a bit more of a wave. Still won't amount to too much, but finding advantages across the map so far, even if small, are starting to add up.
They are indeed, and we do get first items completed, at least the Divine Sunder for Shun. We also have that Leandri's completed for Yagao. Into a little bit of sustained damage there as well, but again, it's just on being proactive, on running around and being a menace on this Blitzcrank, and I think BLG opting into this pick is so huge for the pressure in that early game. Now, we have seen them stumble in the mid to late game, but this is kind of exactly where BLG have been striking all series long.
BLG definitely all in on the strengths that they've shown so far, and now just trying to maintain presence and pressure in bot side river ahead of Dragon coming up in 45 seconds, so I think it makes a lot of sense. We can see on the opposite side, though, key items coming out for both Elk and Bin. Divine Sunder now picked up. Immortal Shield Bow for Elk, so he's going to have a bit more survivability in some of these skirmishes coming out. And for OMG, we're still left waiting on Mythics to come through. You would assume with that, they should have these online. But this could be the difference coming up in BLG just being able to pick up a Dragon. If you have to now go for resets, you don't have tempo there to come and try and get involved in the fight.
Dragon coming up in like less than 15 seconds. It looked like they wanted to try to get some vision out to maybe contest that, but they realized there's not much contesting to be had. Everybody's got their mythics on the other side of the fight, and there's not many really completed in the fight that you were about to take. So it should be BLG just taking down this Dragon, separating it 1 for 1.
Nice job by BLG. Great resets to come out for them to ensure that they pick this up. You can look at the vision, just a nice vision line littered across bot side, knowing exactly what's going on. And now they get this just in time, potentially start pivoting their pressure up towards top to set themselves up to get that next Herald.
Oh, goodness. We have a Mountain Soul in a Game 5 where picks are key. That is so insane to me. As we do get the
we also have time being wasted.
There. As will be spotted out on their attempted engage, but that is so big, and I'm sure it's going to come into a big way later on, but we'll see if those picks do amount to anything with those extra choke points.
And again, I'm curious just to follow what BLG's plan here is, considering that they're the ones with pressure in their 3 lanes. Elk, you need to be careful.
Just have the little jump away, but that's Gale Force forward. Lightning Crash comes down. That is a flash out of the Moonlight Vigil. Now Abel, he's overextended himself. He gets hooked right in, and Bin has come in to lock down Ppgod. He uses the Wild Growth, but under tower, Bin goes. He should be able to dodge out of this one. Oh, Shun, you're going a little ham, but that's what Game 5 needs. As Elk goes low, but that's one more kill to BLG and a tower at 15 minutes.
BLG not only find the kills, but they pull the presence of OMG towards the bot side, so they're not even able to trade for Herald up in top. And that is a huge game break open point for BLG. Now almost 4k gold up. Nice picks by them. The Zeri now 3-1-1.
My goodness.
all of it starting from what looked like Elk getting caught out. The Gale Force being there, so he's able to follow up on the dash. Has to flash away from the Moonlight Vigil. But now with On coming in, with the TP being here, I mean, Abel just knowing he's going to go down. And then I love how much they commit to finish off the Lulu as well. Ben's like, I'm going to get some damage. Shun going to fall up over the wall. I believe even Elf was tanking turret to try and run in here to get things done. They just wanted to finish him off.
Die. Oh my goodness. BLG have turned this train right around, it feels like, on the OMG side, because they had the advantage. They had those 2 kills on the Abel. Abel, a man that really just brought it back from the brink here in this series. But now they find themselves at such a deficit.
I need to remind everyone, if you're out there watching and you think this game is over because BLG have a lead, this lead means absolutely nothing. We've seen BLG throw much heavier leads. What was it? It was a game 2 or 3 where I think even at the end of the game, they had the gold lead, or the gold was like neutral. The gold graph never showed OMG in the advantage.
It was like 3K.
Yeah, it was, so not over, but the fact that your Zeri is this big.
You see those boxing gloves right there on the Blitzcrank? That, yeah, you see, that's a representation of what this this series has been. It has been an absolute boxing match, and a scrappy one at that. While maybe not the cleanest of moments, it really has delivered in all the ways that we could have expected. I think Elk and Abel have stepped up to the table as well.
It's also been the type of like boxing match that I like. Which, you know, I watch UFC more specifically. There's a guy named Tony Ferguson, and his whole motto is like, eat a punch to throw a punch. And I feel like that's what these teams have done. You know, you let them punch you in the face, just to hope that you can swing even harder and knock them out. Which has kind of led to the fiesta that we have seen so far. Now eyes are going to be on where we're going to end up using this Herald, especially for Shun now that he's coming out from base. We can see the lean towards mid, so I wouldn't be surprised if the setup is there, especially with this reset coming out from Abel. Then you could start moving your forces, pivoting up towards topside, trying to push for even more aggressive vision if they want to go for that. But with Dragon coming up in a minute, I also wouldn't be surprised to see if they did just keep their presence down towards that bottom half of the map.
And we're looking right now, it is a second item completed for Elk. It does not seem to be possible for Abel to make it in time to get this second item before another Dragon fight comes up in 50 seconds or so. So OMG definitely probably taking the back foot on this one. I think that this Rip Herald charge actually makes it through. Does get the tower too. So that'll be a second tower for BLG as well, and a lot of pressure given to them on the map, and not as much safety towards this Dragon pit as OMG might like.
So they do keep the lean towards bot side, which I like. Do that now. Try and set yourselves up to get the second Dragon online, and then you could start reinvesting towards top side to break open that final outer turret. It looks like OMG already consciously giving it up. You can see Ppgod now on our screens, making his way to try to enable Creme in the side lane.
Just trying to get Creme ahead in any way possible.
Is it gonna happen?
I don't think he's gonna fall for the bait. I don't think he's gonna fall for it. Does have all the tools available. I feel like Annie is not the easiest to get locked down, but maybe a little bit of help from Ppgod there. We'll see the side lane continuing to be how it's been. A little bit of a lead for Ben himself in terms of the CS differential. And I think that's something that BLG has really wrote the ship on at this point in this 5th game, because they were in a disadvantage, but they took those kills down bottom lane, and now they've springboarded off of that. This will be that second Dragon going over to them as well.
So they do that now, already start bringing on up towards topside to clear out some of these wards. And again, we know BLG, they're going to start reinvesting in topside vision. Baron coming up, making sure you break down that last tier 1 turret. And then you could start heavily kind of prodding into the enemy jungle with the Blitzcrank. See if you can find a hook and set yourself up for that objective. Again, it's just the nice thing about a Blitzcrank. It just suddenly, you see someone over a wall, hook catches them out. You now have numbers advantage, bam. Baron start out of nowhere.
Creme trying to catch out Yagao. Can't do it though. Yagao with the swift feet moving out of the Fate Sealed. You see On hovering over this way though. There is the Baron spawning in 5 seconds, and vision game is key right now. We've seen a couple crazy little Baron starts, and I know this team, both these teams kind of looking at that now. We do have that Rylai's completed for Yagao.
Mazel, as a kid, I had 2 goldfish. And one of them ate the other one. It's a really depressing day. But I feel like that's how this game's going to go. I feel like BLG and OMG, they're both evenly matched. We love both of them. We feed them every day. But right now, BLG, you know, I predicted BLG to win. Again, I'm still going to throw that out there despite the fact that I've kind of been a bit biased for OMG.
Okay.
But right now, I can feel it. I can feel the on hook coming.
Ooh. Well, I guess it's going to be left to the teams that are on the rip to find that one out here, as we are just over or at that 21-minute mark. I think a lot of catch-outs are looming. Some big pick potential on the side of BLG, as I expect Yagao to get a little bit more involved here as well.
For now, it just seems like BLG are kind of fine, playing smooth and steady, allowing Bin to find agency in the spot side. But I kind of feel like they need to be a little bit more, you know, pedal to the metal, get in the enemy jungle and more actively try to utilize this Blitzcrank. Maybe waiting until they get another item under Elk, but I guess he's sitting on 2 components, so he shouldn't be that far away. But at the same time, I really am afraid for them as this game goes on, especially now that Abel just picked up that Infinity Edge.
He did. That third item spike is going to be really huge for Elk, and I think we've seen what Zeri has been able to do in this series so far. Right now, Elk is on the helm of it. We got Baron started up by BLG, trying to bait in OMG. Look at Yagao. He's looking over the wall. He goes in, double stun! And the decisiveness does strike BLG. They get one. Aren't able to follow up too much more. As another CC comes down, BLG do pounce.
I wonder if they're going to look for it again, because it's not even like you necessarily need the anti-flash timbers to get a fight going when you do have on there and ready. Shun doesn't have Cyclone up, which could be a big deal. You look across at OMG, a lot of key ultimates online. Both Creme and Abel having theirs.
Stress is mounting. A miracle moment. Here comes the Moonlight Vigil, and on in trouble. That's the fate sealed. He got some AoE. Aki's in the pit, but he's not there fast enough. He's going to focus on the Baron. Can he get it down before it goes? No! Shun gets it, and it's about to be a wipe. Elk steps up, and that's a triple kill for BLG's ADC in a moment that might have just put the nail in the coffin of OMG.
BLG set up to either get a rematch with JDG or get their first matchup against Edward Gaming. We're going to see here actually dodges out on the sapling to make their way around and get the stun off onto Ppgod and make sure they at least find the initial first pick. Then I thought this was a bit dicey. You know, they get no Cyclone, like a lot of kills up on the opposite side, but you do have the Blitzcrank. But they didn't even really rely on that. It was OMG coming into them and able to find agency in this fight. All of it on Elk being untouched, putting off free damage the whole time. Both teams end up gambling, flipping this on who's going to win a smite fight. It ultimately did end up being BLG, but then with Elk left untouched, able to dish out all that damage, runs down the other members as Tabe jumps in excitement. I love it. One of the most emotional guys, emotional coaches in League. Wears it all on his sleeve, and you can see it here, ecstatic. That 10K gold lead towards Bilibili Gaming.
Absolutely. It is looking like a lower bracket run for BLG. The last moment adaptation, the Blitzcrank coming through for On, but Elk stepping up when he's needed most. This Zeri, this blue side, so important for BLG, but it's also about the execution in these team fights. I think we've seen such a step up from BLG. Some slip-ups, but some step-ups.
And BLG having to learn the same lesson they learned in their last series against J2G of how important the Zeri pick is. They learn it here, they pick it up, and now taking over Bin. I think he should be fine. Still has all summoners up as well.
There's the all-out coming in. They do have a decent amount of lockdown. The counter-strike comes through. He'll flash the blast cone right out. Nature's Grasp, not enough. Take him out at least. Dragon to BLG. This will be Soul Point.
Soul Point, 3 items on Elk, you know, with the Navori now. And they're pretty big. Even Everfrost being on himself. So, you know, once the hook does come out, we'll be able to connect and make sure they follow up with the CC. I got to say on that point, I really wish On would have kept his name as OWO, which is what it used to be.
I don't know if we could have that one in this one, but maybe harkening back to a previous time. Now, we did get that third item completed for Elk. We are looking at a siege for another about 20 seconds of a Baron buff for BLG.
Yeah, playing out through this 2-lane setup. Looks like bot lane is fine and in order as well. Bin now hitting the level 16, so the third point going into that ulti. And they can't even dedicate resources to him. For OMG, you have to overload just one lane and accept that you're going to lose pressure somewhere else. Aki not having ultimate, though. Aki not having ult might prevent them from actually being able to find and try and set up and engage, even if Bin was showing top.
Oh, On's going for it. Tries to go for that Everfrost, by the way. He does get it, but the unstoppable from Shanji. Yagao!
Oh,
he finds the backline! Oh, but he can't get him. You got it all out. You got the fate sealed, but he can't get the damage down, and everything's crumbling apart for OMG! The shots from Elk are ringing true. You got the wild growth that saves the day at least. And OMG, they should be able to fight off this siege, but it is almost broken for them.
How does no one die there from OMG? Everyone escaping on a sliver of health. And I wonder if we'll get a replay of that because no one died. And, you know, that's usually how our replays work. If someone dies, we get a replay, even if it's insignificant. But I think it was Creme there. I think Creme jumped in on the backline the same time that Yagao went in with the stun. We luckily do get a replay. I want to see why no one was able to follow up on this initial damage. Yagao goes in. Creme's going to be off to the side. They do start, okay, so yep, Nature's Grasp to start things off, and then the Yone follows in. So nice job by Aki and Creme there to make sure that Yagao's huge engage was followed up on. And then right here, Wild Growth has to come out, but it makes sure and guarantees that Creme gets out alive. 2 minutes and 50 seconds till Dragon, so feels like that's going to be the big moment we're looking at. Unless, hell, maybe BLG just say screw it and look to force another Baron play, though. These guys, this is crazy.
13,000 gold lead, though. A huge advantage here for BLG on the cusp of knocking OMG out of the spring playoffs. But OMG, they do not want to go out quietly. They refuse to go out quietly. They got to find a fight here now. No, there ain't no fight left. The boxing glove has hit the haymaker, and Aki's down.
And now for BLG, gonna be able to just keep cementing control. Doesn't look like they want to opt into a push towards mid just yet. I guess get your waves in order top and start bringing down that top lane turret and top inhibitor. Sadly, no Baron up for another 45 seconds. So that pick actually not being the end of the world for OMG.
We'll see OMG fishing with a little bit of breath to give. On always fishing at this point. He's got those big old gloves to scoop up OMG as much as possible here. The defense needs to come through for OMG. They're going to go in, but it's a lockdown on the Creme. Has to go back as that wild growth popped on him. Aki is now available, but that is in hit power. Gone in the top side.
Yeah, now going to be able to guarantee this one down. Maybe make your way back, keep control up top side, and start setting up for Baron. I don't know how comfortable they feel going for resets, but still just trying to play around the threat of a hook. See if anyone walks in to check his vision.
No! They found Aki! Oh, again! They continue to be disappointed in the moments. You got OMG being ripped apart shred by BLG! A triple kill for Elk. They want to get more. Can they top this off with a penta for their ADC? They want to get one more. They can't get it. Shun has gotten it down, but that signals the end. And for the first time, BLG will make their move. They'll place the highest that Bilibili has ever placed, and they'll look for a date with redemption in our next round of the lower bracket. They eliminate OMG from the LPL Spring Playoffs.
It's great to see this roster. So many players brought who, again, were key players on their past team. Come in, make this huge run, enable each other so well, and deliver in a Game 5. We've seen time and time again from BLG. They can contend with the best of them. You look back at their last series against JDG, all the while could have been a 3-0. Felt like they won 4 out of the 5 games, or at least should have, that they played. Feels like a similar story here today. 4 of the games that we've seen, it felt like BLG honestly were just the better team than OMG. And then